Sup YouTube, it's Zapdos TCG here, and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. On this channel, you get tons of Pokemon TCG content, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And if you like what you see at any given point, be sure to slap the hell out of the like button. It is super effective as usual, and I always appreciate it. We're going to be talking about a controversial topic: how much CP/championship points do you need for Worlds 2025 over in Anaheim, California? Well, the question is actually pretty controversial because people don't like to hear the answer, right? Because Pokemon actually made it sure that in this specific season that there's only going to be the top 125 of every region, besides like smaller regions like Oceania, etc. So, but for I'm going to be focusing on US as well as Europe in this video as an example because we have more data to, of course, look at. And I want to just make it sure that people don't get discouraged here because the CP number might be not what you expect it to be, right? Before, in the 2024 season, 2023-2024 season, there was actually, a specific threshold that you need to get in order to get a World Championship invite. That was to Honolulu, Hawaii, and that for US, I think it was 600, and for Europe, it was 500. So that was just reasonable to get because you can get a lot of locals. There were 6 League Cups and 6 League Challenges that counted towards your World Invite. Now they reduced that down to your 4 best finishes of your League Cups and your League Challenges. And also for your Regional/Internationals, your 5 best finishes count. That means that it is quality over quantity, right? Because in the past, it was way easier to get points. Not only were there lower attendance, there was a lower attendance rate at tournaments, meaning that you could get into top 128 a little bit easier because there were way less players. Now, tournaments have capped over 2,000 players in a lot of events, most importantly in the US, which will make it a little bit more difficult in the US to get there because to get consistent results and that large of quantity of players, it's going to be really difficult. So we're going to be talking about the post you see right here from Seagrove. The currently ranked 125th player in the United States has 415 points. 185 from majors and 230 from locals. What will be the CP threshold for the lowest ranked NA player to make Worlds? If we know, the top 125 players will get that prestigious World Championship invite, which is always super nice to achieve. And there was a poll here with 392 people actually voting here. And the number here you see is 47.7% of the people think it will be between 650 and 750 points, which is not that much higher than the threshold it was for last year. And the reason why that happens is that it is way more difficult to get those consistent results as there's way more players, and there has been results where X2 doesn't even make top 8. Yeah, that's true. That's how difficult it is right now. Also, with the 5-1 record being able to get into day 2, it means there's way more people getting into day 2, which means even if you go into day 2, you might even get into the top 512, for example. So that's very, very hurtful indeed. If your run in day 2 doesn't go as planned, you might end up with nothing. And I also want to know why Pokemon did not introduce the season rewards quite yet, because that's something they noted down when they have those huge structural changes happening, that there will be a season reward. The season reward program means that World Championship invites should not be the end goal because you can get something else if you rank in a specific number, but they were silent. Throughout the entire season, they have not mentioned this at all. I hope in EYC they mentioned the season reward program because I feel like a lot of players will. I think UIC is always like the turning point where people say, oh, I'm gonna still chase the invite, or I'm gonna be making it, just staying at home, not chasing the invite anymore. So that's like the twisting point at UIC most of the time because you can already see or tell if it is reachable or not. And I will see a lot of players that are gonna be completely dropping any events as soon as EYC drops because they're gonna say, oh, my championship point total is this, and there's no way for me to actually get into the top 125 anymore. So traveling costs a lot of money, so they're gonna just say, oh, I'm gonna just stay at home. So Pokemon needs to introduce those season rewards ASAP, or there's always something that could happen into the local scene as well, because I've seen League Cups with like 9 people. But yeah, over here in our local community, I actually play League Cups with 38 people. So it depends on where you live in the world, and also it depends on if the people are actually serious to play events, because a lot of people have Worlds as the end goal of the season, because it's the only thing to just play for at this moment. I know you can just win a playmat with champion in a League Cup, but that's about it. I also sometimes miss cities and states. Those tournaments were pretty cool. With that being said, so 650, between 650 and 750. That is what the community currently thinks that the people from North America will need. And we're going to be taking a look at the leaderboards shortly, and we're going to be giving my opinion and what I personally feel it will be. If you give an estimate, this is for North America. For Europe, it's almost the same thing. The person that is currently 125th has actually 240 points from locals. Note that your maximum amount of points for locals is 260. That does mean that they're also almost maxed out. Let's just say it like that. That means that the leaderboard changes will not affect too much during the end of the season, because most of the people will have maxed out their locals. As mentioning, 4 League Challenge wins is 60 points, and 4 League Cup wins in total is 200 points, equals 260 points from locals. That does mean you still need a whole lot of points from regionals, but luckily they upgraded the amount of CP you get throughout events. So we'll just take a look at here what the people say here. Let's see here with Rahul Reddy. With a myriad of players already completing their locals or nearing their best finish limit, the number is looking more and more likely to be close to 700 with auto invites. Yeah, this also means that all the players that won a regional or that are in the top 4 of an IC also get their Worlds invite. This means that there's going to be a lot of players scratched from that list, meaning you could extend all the way to like 133rd, for example. All of those will get an invite if I read the rules correctly, because those will be scratched out of the system as soon as they get their auto invites. Okay. Another person here, Joe Matisse. So imagine a player who consistently gets top 64, 260 at locals, maxing out. But I don't know if there's a lot of people that can actually max out their locals, because in specific areas it's really hard. Can you imagine winning 4 League Cups? It's really hard to do so. I currently only won 2, so hard to do so. Let's see here. So 4 top 64s. 400 and 1 top 128 at an IC means you have a total of 780. No shot that player doesn't make Worlds. I could see 750 being right about what the cutoff is. Maybe a touch higher or lower, not sure, but definitely around under 800. My original guess was 760, so I'm sticking with that. So okay, so that's what the community currently thinks. We have here, what you need to make Worlds as a master in NA last year? 600, yeah, correct. I've been told by locals and my older friends that maxing locals and getting around 5 finishes of top 128 or 2 or 3 finishes of top 132 is probably a good estimate of where you should be. So around 660. If 650 makes World, I will be astonished, because that's really close to the number or the threshold that actually it was last year for people from NA. Let's see here, more people talking about this topic. So people at the beginning of the year were talking about needing 800 to 900 CP to qualify, but I wouldn't be surprised 650 to 700 is enough. And the reason for that is that tournaments are actually with a ton of players currently, like over 2,000. That means even if there were tournament examples where X2 did not even make cut, which means that it's really hard to get those points when there's so many players attending. Question is, how much will EUIC inflate numbers? As I feel more NA people will go to EUIC and try to get points. I'm not sure, but I think plenty of people will give up over the next few months, like seasons pass. EUIC will be the big teller in my opinion. Okay, so I was expecting that as well, because EUIC is always a turning point. Oh, I'm gonna still chase the invite, I'm gonna stop. That's like currently where I see a lot of people, definitely in my local area, give up or just chase further. Yeah, honestly I agree, 650 and 700 wouldn't surprise me either. Probably 700. People saying this for months. 650 is what you need. Sticking with 760. 750 was the minimum save amount I had in mind for the season, and I wouldn't be surprised if it landed within a few dozen points of that number. That makes a lot of sense. I think it's a ballpark around 650. It's funny how the system will end up being the same-ish score you needed in the old system, like TPCI knew what they were doing. This was they ensured a fixed number of people going to Worlds while also maintaining the same-ish cutoff for it. I don't know. I think it'll be higher than 600 for sure. Gotta remember, if a NA player gets first at the regionals, they also get removed from the top 125. In fairness, the 800 to 900 was before the best finish reduction. Yeah, I think they were 6 best finish limit for regionals and ICs, but they cut that down to 5. Okay, so let's take a look at the leaderboards. More and more people will talk about this shortly. So in Europe here, the 420 is currently the 125th. That means, they actually got 240 from locals, so that's kind of crazy. That means only, it's still not bad, 180 from regionals. But they're currently in the rank. Let's just focus on United States for a while. So we see here, we're already on the leaderboard, number 1, 1,157 points. You cannot compete with numbers like this. So if you want to actually get into Worlds, you have to focus on what is on the top 125 and try to just be above that. So there's a lot of people with a lot of crazy scores, and if we take a look at the top 125, you see here 415, so very close to Europe where it was 420. So we see here is that with that number in mind, they have 200 and what was it, 220 from locals, 230 from locals. It was 230 from locals, so they cannot get any more points through locals. And if we take a look at the auto invites here from NA, these are actually all the players that currently have an auto invite. Those will be scratched from the rankings as well. So if you have the top 125, like if you imagine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots remaining, but sometimes people win from Japan and other regions. Let's say 6 of them get scratched. So the 130 first is what you need to be looking at, right? So let's just take a look at the leaderboards. 131st, as a little example, currently is 410. So 410. I don't know how much they got from locals. We can still check that, to be honest. There is a website where you can check out stuff like that, pokerank.gg. Go to player statistics, search out a player here. I don't know which number it is here. So they have been playing in Toronto, so it's probably going to be this one. So let's just calculate what amount of CP they got. So that is 60 CP plus 80 CP from Sacramento plus Baltimore. Nothing means around 140 CP from regionals. If I calculate that correctly, excuse me if I don't have the exact number here, but that's I think they have like maxed out their locals. Yeah, I think that's the reason they're currently at the 131st spot, unless we're talking about a different Brian Ortiz, because there's like 2 of them in this system. But these are this one was the player that played in Toronto, and I think that's probably right, unless they're like 2 people with the same name. Let's see, there's two IDs here. So yeah, that's Pittsburgh 2024. So it's gonna be the other one that we talked about here. If we take a look at results, if you get top 128, you get 80 championship points. If you get 156, you get 60 championship points, I suppose. And then there was a 758. Depends on how many players there actually were at Baltimore. Let's take a look at that tournament here. There were 2,300. So I think they still got like 20 CP from that. Yeah, 20 CP. So that's 160. And if we calculate that now correctly with the 410 minus 160 is 250. So they almost maxed out their entire locals. So that it's not going to be changing all too much. Now it comes down to your 5 best finishes from regionals and internationals and special events. So there's not going to be too much like crazy boost in CP. I think if we take a look at here, let's imagine. There's how many tournaments left here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's imagine some of them attend 3 of them, and they get 100. Let's say they give them the benefit of the doubt. They get 128 3 times. 80 plus 80 plus 80 is 240 with the number right here. I would say 650. 650 could be the cutoff, to be honest. But there's also the IC that you need to be taken into account. If people fly all the way to EUIC and also attend any IC, that change could be also implemented. So let's just add in some additional bonus points. Let's say like 80 an example, and maybe that's a little bit too harsh, but maybe 700 would be the cutoff, I think, in North America. Yeah, for me, that's seeming like a perfect number. 700, it could still be around 680 as well, but it all depends on how many points people get from ICs. And note that the top 4 players of an IC also get an auto invite. So that also is going to be enlarging. So maybe 680. Let's just leave it down. 680 for the US. That's probably where I would be landing. Let's take a look at Europe here as an example here. Maybe we could also check out Latin America and Oceania. So we see here from Europe that there were 1, 2, 3 players from Europe. In the past, James Cox was actually Australian, but they changed that to the Netherlands because he's currently living there. So, and also a player from Japan getting a world invite instantly throughout this season, which is very cool to see that people from Japan now have an incentive to play in these TPCI events. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events left. Okay, sure. Let's take a look at what it does for the numbers here. Let's go all the way to, there's already 3 of them. Let's add 3 more, maybe from an IC. 100. Let's say 138 just to be safe. Or actually 131. Yeah, that's probably gonna be better. Championship points. Okay, let's see here. 132nd. Let's just get that because there's still an IC in Europe as well. So let's take this name and see how much local points they actually have. Player statistics. We're over here at pokerank.gg where everyone's placements are here. So let's take a little bit of a look here. They got in Gdansk top 128. That's 80 points. They got top 128 at Lille, that's pretty reasonable, and they got top 64 at Dortmund. Okay, that's actually kind of crazy. That's really great performances back to back to back. I don't know if they got points in Stuttgart, depends on how many players there were here. 1,700, I don't think there was points for that, so let's 260 and 413. Yeah, they still have a lot of points to grab from locals as well. That's it could still be about 100 points from locals. So pretty interesting for sure. Some people have more and more points than others and locals, but this person has some potential for sure. So let's see here, 413. Imagine that player. Other players might be wrong, but yeah. Let's add in 80 points from locals. And they already have 3 great finishes. Let's add in 2 more from 80, 80, and then an IC to add 50 on top. I think it's going to be more difficult in Europe. I think Europe will be having more specific ways to get points because the tournament attendance rate is lower than in the US, meaning the more successful players, like very pro players, gonna have more points in general because the tournament attendance rate is lower. It means if you have a lower score, you still get more points in Europe generally than in the US. So that will mean it's probably gonna be around 700-ish in Europe if all goes well. Or yeah, definitely with the IC still coming, there's gonna be a huge boost and a lot of players their points. So I would say 700 or 720 in Europe and about 680 in NA. Yeah, that's my guess. It's a guess, it's a gamble. It's not 100% proven. Latin America, let's see here. Is that also top 125? I believe so, right? Okay, so what do we have here? 350. Let's see how many points they got from locals. That's always the nice thing to do. You can do that for an entire database as well. Looks like they're a big fan of Lostbox here. So let's see here. They have been playing in LAIC and they did not do well. Okay, let's see what else. Joinville was top 64. Okay, top 64, and that's about it. That's about. There's also Sao Paulo, but that was last year. Okay, so 100 points. That means they maxed out their locals. That's crazy. So they have almost maxed out. They have 250 from locals. So that means not a lot of local shenanigans left. They have only one result. Depends on how many they still do. I don't know how many regionals. Let's just check it out. Pokemon regionals. How many regionals does LAI people from Latin America still have? Latin America. Let's see here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tournaments still left. That's actually pretty huge. They only have one result so far. How are we gonna calculate that? They have only one result so far, but it was a really great one. But imagine they get 3 more, or actually, yeah, 3 more results, maybe 2. But they already had their AIC, by the way. They already had their AIC. So, but they could fly to Europe. They could fly to NAIC as well. Let's say 80, 80, and 80. That's a little bit hard, right? I think 580 should be enough in Latin America. So let's see here. My calculation was 580 for LAIs for people from Latin America. And then we have what's 500? Nah, it's gonna be 720-ish, or actually 700 to 720 for Europe, 680 for NA. Yeah, that's my current guesses. So we're having some data. Let's calculate on that. I don't know how it works for people from Oceania. I think it's only 25 players. I don't know. Pokemon World Championships 2025. What do you need? Okay, the top 125 for Europe. For oh, it's only the top 100 for LA. Okay, that changes everything. That changes everything. We'll go back to Latin America. We'll have to do our calculations again. Only the top 100. Okay. Okay, let's see here. 388. Would we be close? Player statistics. Would we be close? They've only played in LAIC. Okay, LAIC, and they got... How much championship points do you earn from getting top 1,000 and a bit? Do they even get points with that? Probably, right? Pokemon Internationals. Lots of data. Come on. Okay. How many points do you get? Where are the points, to be honest? I'm going way too quickly here. You also get a lot of booster packs. I think that's pretty cool. Internationals. Where are the points? Championship points. Okay. 40 points. Were there 2,000 players over an LAIC? There were not. So this should not get any points. How do they get... I don't even know how they got the other points, but let's just imagine... Oh, they are from Chile? Yeah. Maybe take a different name to have perfect calculations. Tournaments, player statistics, let's go. Okay, that's better data. 128. 120 points. That is 120 points. Okay. So let's calculate that now. 120. 392 minus 120 is that even 120? Could it be more? 128. Brazil 120. They have 392 points. So specific events are maybe not registered in that, but imagine they could still have about like 3 extra results, right? They already have their IC. That's done. I would say 550. Nah. But yeah, I think maybe 550 should be enough for... Let's go 580. Yeah, I still had 580, but between 550 and 580 should be enough in my opinion, as they already gotten their IC. Okay, moving forward to Oceania. I think that is the top 100 and... No, top 25. Top 20? Only top 20, okay. Now that is a really difficult situation. The top 20 currently has 340 CP. But they have to fly to get their regionals because they don't have that many regionals in their region. And only the top 20 players, that's like so hard to get points. They played at Perth, got top 64. And that's about it. So that means the rest of them are local points. Yeah, that makes sense. They have 240 from local points. That number is not going to change all too much. And if they don't go to an IC, they have to. Some of these will have to fly to an IC in order to get there. I would say 450 for Oceania for the top 20. There's not a lot of opportunities, but they still have about, I think, 1 or 2 regionals left, if I'm not mistaken. That could also get them some points, so maybe like 480. So that's personally my prediction here. So this question, like maybe I should go with a poll as well, but I think EU will be the most, not the most difficult, but will have easier points. You get easier points in Europe. That's what I want to say, because the event numbers are lower and it's very easy to travel in Europe. That also makes a boost that you can do a lot of events with a low cost, meaning I think 700 would be the cutoff for Europe. For NA, 680 is my guess. 680 could be just a little bit lower. For Latin America, 550, 580, somewhere between that. And then for Australia, 480. So that's going to be the thresholds that I personally predict for the World Championship cutoff. Note to self is that also everybody that gets an invite gets scratched from that list. So that could still lower down the numbers as well. But now you have a little bit of an estimate of what you should aim for and when things should be reasonably safe. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. If there's more topics you want us to talk about, let me know in the comments as well. And also let me know how your season is currently going. Post something in the comments. Are you in range to get a Worlds invite? Are you on track? Let me know. I'm very curious to hear your opinion. Also, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and yeah, a very fantastic end of the year. Spend it with friends, family, all that. And I'll be doing a recap video of 2024 very shortly, so that will be also quite the banger. I'll see you guys shortly with more Pokemon TCG content as Prismatic Evolutions. There's still going to be a video planned for the top 10 cards, which is always very interesting to see what the meta will do. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace!